Hello everyone, welcome. It's Penny and Becca from Well Power, and we are here today to help you name and claim what you want in the new year. So, some of you were with us yesterday when we were doing part of this Resolve to Evolve series, and we talked about what we wanted, or we summed up the year in review. We did 2016 in review, and we looked at the things that went well, the things that maybe didn't go so well.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yay. We had a little issue earlier. We tried to do this at 2 o'clock, and it didn't work. So we're doing it again. So we thought,
Hi,
yay.
Becky.
Hey, Becky.
Hi, Becky.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. Yay, it's working. Yay, excellent. Perfect. So what we're going to do is tonight our goal is to just talk about how you can name and claim what you want in 2017. And I know that sounds like really a big goal, but we're going to break it down and give you some strategies so that you can work on a little bit every day, because you don't do the whole year all at once. Hello, Jen.
Hi.
And Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Thank you for joining us. We're here to talk about.
Really high.
Yeah, we're gonna name and claim what we want in the new year. So again, yesterday we looked at what we did in 2016. And so now we're just going to look at what we can do going forward. So the first question I'm just going to put out there: if you want to get a pen and paper or any of your electronic devices, anything that you can take some notes, because if you can write some things down, you know, your first thought is always your best thought, or at least a surprising or interesting thought, so you can capture that. But you also might want to think about these things later as well. So we're going to go through about 5 or 6 questions, and then Becca and I will do some talking. We get into this and then we get really excited and want to share everything we know about this, but we're going to try and stay on track here. So the first question is, what do you want to be, do, or have in the new year? And this is big, so again, you can come up with your first responses, but then you might also want to think about this as well. So did you have anything that you wanted to add about that? We had talked about, or I think what I want to say about that is sometimes you need to have the second part of the question that I'm going to ask you before you might instantly come up with 1 or 2 or 3 things. But the next thing.
Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Stacy. Thanks for joining. Stacy's here. Yay. So
and Jane. Hi, Jane.
Jane. Thank you for joining. It's nice to have you here. So what we're talking about the new year and what you want to do, be, or have in the new year. But the second part of that question that's also important is, or probably the most important, is why do you want it? Because sometimes we say we want these things, like the typical resolutions are things that we might say, like, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds, or I want to double my income, or do this kind of thing. And when it's all said and done, it's like, do we really want to do that? Because are we willing to do the work and take the time and the effort? Because as we have said earlier, a lot of New Year's resolutions don't really stick, or they don't really work, because we're not really that committed to doing them, and they're hard. We just said, right. It's like what we're asking to do when we do New Year's resolution is to change a behavior that we haven't changed so far. And so that means doing something different and going out of our comfort zone, and that might sound really good, but but it's hard to do. So what we want to do is encourage you to make these really small daily, take these actions and make some changes that are doable and sustainable. And we want to help you get through the year and see some big results in the end, but just by taking small, deliberate action. Okay, so how's everybody doing with that? Does anybody have any goals that you want to share right now? If you want, just go ahead and post them on here. We can see them, and I'd love to know what 2017 you want 2017 to be about for you. Are you?
Hi, Sue.
Thank you for joining. So what we're looking at, and when you think about this, here's another way that I'm going to give you to think about your goals. We had again talked about this a little bit earlier, and there's 3 goals I want you to think about. One are your basic goals. These are the things that that's the basic thing that you want to have happen in 2017. It could be you just want to get through the year alive, you want to get through it healthy, you want to keep your job or get a new job or do something like that. It may be, I don't know, you maybe have some big plans this year. Maybe you're getting married, maybe you're getting divorced, maybe you're having a baby, maybe anything could happen. So these are just your basic goals that you think are pretty doable and achievable this year. So that's the first type of goal. The second kind of goal that I want you to think about are your stretch goals. And what stretch goals are they're just outside of your comfort zone. So it's like, it's achievable. You're going to have to work for them, but so it might be like, instead of saying, for me, I could say, I would like to write a book this year, but in order for me to write a book, I have to write so many words every single day. So it is achievable. It's just that I have to have a plan in place to do that. And then the third type of goal I want you to think about are your wildest dream goals. Now these are interesting. Hi Karen, thank you for joining.
Hi Karen.
So the wildest dream goals would be the things that you'd like. Oh, in my wildest dreams this would happen. But it's really important to write these down as well, because these are going to pull you forward. These are going to be the things that. It's funny because if you reach those stretch goals, then the wildest dream goals just don't seem that far out of. So
yeah,
so
puts you going in the right direction.
Yeah, you get the momentum going. Yeah, sorry, I'm moving
Hi,
around
Glenn.
here. Hey, Glenn. Thanks for joining. So I'm just gonna bring you all up to speed. We had originally committed to doing this at 2 o'clock today. So here's what Becca and I did. We got on and we did it at 2 o'clock. And we were so excited. We were really jazzed. We went through all of these things and we talked and we coached each other and did all this. And then we tried to shut it off and it said it wouldn't shut off. And we realized that we didn't record any of it. So we might be a little all over the place tonight because we might not remember what we said then and what we want to say tonight. But I do have my trusty cheat sheet in front of us, and I also have this available for you. It's on my website. If you go to www.wellpower.com, you can download this template and you can follow this as well. You can also get the year in review, which we did yesterday, and you can fill that out because, again, we know that there's some things that you'll get right away, but then there's other things that you want to think about. Right. I mean, really, it's like you need to let these ideas sort of incubate a little bit and decide how you want to go through with them. So again, the first thing we talked about is what do you want to do, be, or have, and if you are feeling really brave, please type them in for me because we can see, and then that will help us interact with you because we do want to make this about you who are with us today. And if you have some questions or some any concerns or just help that you need, we'd love to be able to provide that for you. You were going to say something?
I guess so. I think sometimes when figuring out what it is that is going to be our goal, you're almost afraid to say something because you don't want to commit to something that you're
right.
That might not be it, and so you're afraid to put it out there. But the thing is, it can be constantly changing. Just because you're saying one thing, as you go along toward that one thing, you might realize, well, it's almost what I wanted, but I changed my mind and I want, something similar, or I want it to be more expansive, or I think my wildest dream goal isn't really that much of a wildest dream, and I'm on the right track and I can make this happen. Things are falling into place for me, and, so things can change. Just because you say one goal does not mean you have to stick to it no matter what. That's why it's not a resolution, it's a goal.
Right.
Resolutions, you get on this track, and the minute you fail, then you give up, and it's like
okay, forget it, I'm done. But we are all about you making course corrections. You just don't know sometimes about a goal until you start going for it.
Right.
You don't know how much it's going to require. You don't know how much effort it's going to take. And as we had talked about earlier, that sometimes it's good that we don't know because, how many times have you done something and you said, had I known how much work it was going to be, I wouldn't have done it. But yet, you're glad you did it. It was worth
Right.
the effort.
Right.
The other piece is that many times it takes us a long time to get it right. You keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. I mean, you just jump in, you start before you're ready, like we did with Facebook Live. We had no idea what we were doing yesterday, but we committed to doing it, so we
We
jumped
made the
in,
leap,
and then we
we're
said,
completely
"Oh,
out of our comfort zone.
yeah, and then we
And-
said, okay, now we really know what we're doing, so we jumped in today, and then it didn't happen.
really didn't
even
know
though
what we were doing.
we thought
No,
it happened.
we
So
didn't know.
that was really interesting for us.
We didn't know.
But then we said, we've committed to doing this, so we're going to come right back on that horse. We're going to get on that horse, and then here we are, and now you're with us. So that's really great. So so yeah, about the course correction is you may have heard this, like when pilots are flying a plane, that I don't know, a very large percentage of time they are off course. So the instruments always keep them on course. And so you get there. I mean, little by little, they get from point A to point B, even though they're off course most of the time, just by doing those course corrections. And that's what we're looking at for this year, is making the course corrections. So once you get into it, it's like, and this is going to lead us right into the next question of, how do you want to feel? Because your feelings are really going to guide you this year. And if you're doing something and you're just like, wow, I'm not feeling, and sometimes, you know, I know, like at 5 a.m. you might not feel like you want to get up and write those 500 words or go for a run or whatever, but you know that the bigger feeling is that you want to have this accomplished. You want to be accountable to yourself.
Right.
So you'll do these things, but sometimes too, your feelings are going to tell you, are you doing it for you or are you doing it for somebody else? Because the thing about these, and again, I'm not going to call them New Year's resolutions, because I don't really believe that resolutions stick, but the goals or intentions or declarations, whatever you want to call them. No, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm so excited about telling was it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You were going to say something.
I think it's important to realize that I think intention is a great word for it, even better than goal. You set your intention and then you listen to your inner voice. And what she said to begin with, it's important to know why you want what your intention is, because that's going to tell you the feeling that you're going for as much as the goal. Like, you know, you want to lose 20 pounds. Why? What is the feeling that you're going for? What is it you want to feel when you've lost the 20 pounds?
Right.
And maybe that's not actually what you need to do to get to that feeling.
Right.
And that's what you have to be aware of.
Yes.
Keep listening to your feelings. Okay, am I going in the right, am I doing it right? Am I getting to the feeling that I want? Is this the path I need to take to get to the feeling I want? Or do I need to change course, change direction a little bit so that I do feel happy and fulfilled, and whatever it is that you're wanting to feel.
Yeah, I think a big point is that we think that if this happens, then this will happen. Like, so we postpone our happiness, we postpone our joy, we postpone feeling good until we feel deserving of it or something, and that is so crazy. You cannot waste one moment feeling of joy, a possible moment of joy, because you don't feel deserving of it. You are, and I'm going to tell you that right now, that no matter if you change one thing or nothing, that's okay. You are still fantastic the way you are. You are still lovable, and you're fine. I mean, it's great that we want to do the self-improvement and we want to set these goals. But I also want you to start from this place of enoughness, that no matter what happens from now on, you are still enough, you are good enough, and so it's great that you want to get better, but know why. And like Becca said, it might not be the goal that you think is going to get you there may not get you there. I mean, it really, most of us, we just want to feel good. So if a way to get there, how can you get there right now? You know, you don't need to be this elusive 20 pounds later or whatever, or $20,000 later or something like that. You know, how can you feel good right now? And many times it's what you're telling yourself. It's a thought. Yesterday we talked about how we're only one thought away from a new perspective, and we're probably about one good workout away from a new mood, or a few dance moves or something like that. Whatever you like to do, or archery or
one of my classes that one of the classes that I was taking for my integrative nutrition. The whole speech was about just force yourself to laugh. Look, like, start laughing.
Yeah.
Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah.
Do it right now. Ha, 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 ha. Do it. See what happens?
It won't take us long because
And
Yeah.
even if you're faking it,
yeah.
fake it.
Hey, Pam.
Fake it for 30 seconds, and pretty soon you're laughing for real. Like, look
Yeah.
at each other and start laughing, and pretty soon you are laughing.
Yeah.
And it changes your whole perspective on what's going on and how you feel. And you know, when you send joy out into the world, you get it back.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's simple stuff to feel good now. You got to do, like,
Yeah.
get up and make some crazy dance move that makes you
Yeah.
laugh, or make someone else laugh, which makes you laugh, you know.
Right. Yeah, there's a great video. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's you can find it on the internet of this guy who gets on a train, and he gets on and he just starts giggling, and you see all these other people in the train and they're very somber, but because he's giggling, they start giggling.
Right.
And before you know it, the
Right.
whole train is laughing, and then they all start doing this, and before they know it, he's gotten off the train and he's on the next train going by them and he's doing the same thing. So he's just spreading. He's like a contagious bodhisattva. You know, he's on there doing all this, just spreading joy, and it's so wonderful. So please don't postpone joy. Make that commitment, you know, to tonight.
Yeah.
That when you have a chance, don't say, you know, I'm not deserving of this, or, you know, I really shouldn't feel this way because somebody else is suffering. The thing that you can do is be in your power, to stay centered in your joy, and that's the best thing that you can do. Becca and I were talking earlier, so I'm going to give you a little background because some of you may have not been on the call yesterday. So Becca is my neighbor, and we walk the dogs, our dogs, every morning, and we just talk about life. We figure things out by going on these walks. So we just thought, oh, we'll just do this together and we'll share some of these things that we've learned. So anyway, that's that, and so here we are today talking, but it's so helpful to have other people to share your experience with. And what were we saying this afternoon about when we were about fear, and how you know, some of us are going into this new year with a little trepidation. You know, maybe we don't like what's going on in the country, or what's going on in our family, or what's going on anywhere. And the thing is, it doesn't help us to worry and add more fear to that. You know, the best thing you can do is stay in, kind of centered in what you know that you can do. And what you can do is just be this force for good and peace and love and understanding, and you can do your best, because we can worry endlessly about things that we don't have any control over. So if you can just stay in that space of what are these small actions that I can take to move me towards my goal, and then that helps you then be an example and a light for other people.
Yeah.
So
and it also, you know, if you can't do anything about what's happening, like listening to the news can really stress you out, can really depress you. I was talking about how I had watched a video where they were showing all these Time magazine covers that said, you know, how the economy will be crashing, and this is going wrong and that is going wrong, and it all seemed like stuff that was happening right now. Like it could have been what was on the news yesterday. It seemed so common in what you hear every day. And then at the end of the video, they said, okay, but these are all Time magazine covers from 30 years ago. So you're constantly, if you open yourself up to it, going to hear a lot of negativity and if there's nothing you can do about it, don't listen to it. Don't listen.
Yeah.
Don't listen.
Yeah.
If it's nothing that you can change, and it's nothing that's within your power to get involved in doing anything about, then stay within your world of love, peace, joy, contentment, and just send that out into the world. And that's really the only thing that you can do to help.
yeah. And then, like we had said, when it is possible for you to take action, then definitely take action.
Mm-hmm.
If there's some small thing you can do in your world that makes a difference, then absolutely do that. But adding to the stress and the worry for other people, it doesn't doesn't help in general. So anyway, that's kind of
Just a little sidebar.
yeah, we get going and then we start talking about all this other stuff, but we just wanted to throw some of these things in for you. So has anybody thought yet about what do you want to do, be, or have in 2017? Anybody brave enough to write it down on the sidelines yet, or why you want it? You know, it could be like when we talked about before, your basic goals, your stretch goals, and your wildest dream goals. Maybe if one of your basic goals is you're having a big event, a big birthday, or you're getting married or something like that, and so your why would be you want to be your best. I know a couple of years ago I did, I changed a lot of things, and so I changed the way I ate, and I just did some things differently, and I just wanted to feel good. You know, that was the way I wanted to feel, but I also felt this strong impulse that the time had come for me to kind of step up. I did, like in my eating psychology program, we talked about owning your throne, you know, stepping in. It's like you reach a certain age in life and it's like, no more princess, let's just be the queen. Let's step up, and you know, the world needs more people who are powerful and doing what they need to do. And I felt like in order to do my best work, I needed to be feeling my best. I absolutely could not be feeling foggy and fat and fuzzy and, you know, just out of control. So I did some things, and it was hard. I quit eating certain foods, but that maybe I've eaten over the holiday break. So, you know, that's why there's January.
Second or
yeah,
third,
yeah.
or whenever you feel like starting back on the right track.
And that reminds me again of we had said earlier that, you know, all of you are live on the call, but if people should see this later, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be New Year's Day. Any day you can begin again. So my favorite thing.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, Diane. I'm going to show you this, and I know it's backwards, but it's just a stone that says begin again. So I have this by my writing desk, because every day is up for negotiation. Every day I have to recommit to who I am, what I'm doing, and why I want to do that. And so just having something like a touchstone like that to look at is always helpful for me. So is there some little thing that you could do, or you could even just write a couple words on a piece of paper that you can keep with you, or keep in your wallet, or keep in a locket, or someplace on your person, that if ever you wonder why you're doing something, I mean, if you can get that why piece. I don't know if any of you know of Simon Sinek, Sinek. He's really cute and he's really smart, and he has this book called It Starts With Why, and I think he's got an accent too, which just sends it over the edge for me. But anyway, he's really great. He's got a lot of good videos. If you ever watch the TED Talks, I mean, I'm a huge fan of TED Talks, but he's got something on there, and it's really fun to watch his videos, because he's really good. And he talks about once you have that why, then you can change the world. So getting to that point and then feeling it really, it's not like a goal or intention that really is gonna make a difference to you is one that isn't gonna change tomorrow. You're gonna wake up, and every day, like pretty much every day of my life, I know I want to write something. I mean, that's how I metabolize my life, is to write about it, and you all get to hear about it, whether you want to or not sometimes. But what is that thing for you? What is the thing that you would do no matter what, and what is meaningful to you, and that you want to get better? Like, I am always learning new things. I'm doing workshops because I want to be better at my craft, and I want to help people. I want to be better at coaching. I want to learn things, and I want to learn things from all of you. So what is that thing that you would do, regardless of if you got paid, regardless of, I mean, like this thing that we're doing now, the Facebook Live? Bob, my fiance, always says, why do you stress yourself out so much? And I'm like, because this is really important. It pulls me forward. It puts me in touch with people. And even though it is terrifying for me to do this, because I don't know about all of you guys, but it is not fun to look at yourself on the video.
No, it's really not.
On the video. So earlier, Becca and I, when we thought we had recorded this, then, we tried to push the finish button and it wouldn't finish. And so we're like, oh no, Hotel California, we can check out anytime we like, but we're still on.
We can never leave.
Yeah. And so,
our worst nightmare.
Yeah. So we started doing all these like outtakes and we're like, well, this is way better than our, than our other stuff, because we were just being real and goofy. And the thing is, I want you to know that, well, not that any of you would have ever thought that I had it totally together, but, but none of us do, really. So please be kind with yourself. I mean, you can't compare your insides with somebody else's outsides. And even though they may look like they have it together and they've really got it going on, the thing is, we all have these, yeah. The great Gavinsky, Becca's son, is here. He's being our producer right now, so he's sitting behind us and he's giving us little clues about, like, should we happen to lose our internet connection and keep talking for 2 hours? No one's there. No one's. So anyway, he's helping us. He's 11, and so he's doing a great job. So yeah. So anyway. So where are we? Back to the goals. So we talked about what you want to do, be, or have, and then we also talked about what do you want and why do you want it, and then how do you want to feel. So, anybody have any feedback on that? Anybody care to type anything in? See, the good news for you all is that you don't have to appear on the video.
Right.
You just have to, type it in. So it's much less stressful, and you don't have to, wear your tuxedo or your tiara or toot your horn. But
Toot your horn.
yeah. So, yeah.
Nice, Gavin.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so with those three things, if you have had that, and then for those of you who may not have heard, I'm just going to go real briefly over the 3 type of goals that would be interesting for you to contemplate this year. The first one are basic goals. What are the minimum goals that, hey, Barbie!
Hi,
Barbie's here! What are your basic goals? What are the things that a minimum that you would like to achieve this year? And then the stretch goals were like, wow, I'd be really happy if I could do that. It's really out of my comfort zone, but I think I can make this happen. So, Amy, thank you for joining.
Amy.
And then the third one are your wildest dream goals. And please don't forget to write down your wildest dream goals, because I know you're thinking, oh, this is in my wildest dreams, if only. But you just never know, because you write it down, you make it happen. There's a great book by a woman named Henrietta Clauser or something. Anyway, it's called Write It Down, Make It Happen. And I read that, I don't know, like 10 or 15 or 20, I don't know, it's been a while. But it's so true. It's like the things that you write down have a much more likely chance of happening than things that you don't.
Well, there's been studies on that, and I've had the studies quoted by a couple different places about like college graduates, and when they were in college, the ones that had a goal were so much more successful or made so much more money, and then the ones that, I can't even remember, I shouldn't even be quoting this because I can't remember exactly, but it was astonishing. And then the ones that actually wrote down their goal 10 years later were making like 2 times or 3 times more money, and were 80% of them had made their goal, as opposed to the ones that didn't have a goal to begin with at all. And there is a huge amount of documentation out there, studies that show that having a goal is one thing, that's huge, but writing down your goal makes it like 10 times more effective.
I don't know.
Just by writing it down.
Right, yeah. If you've ever done this where like you write down, or even like a bucket list or something where you have some goals, or, sometimes we do this about a future mate, what are the qualities we want in this person? Okay, well, what I want in myself. Okay, so you write them down, but then later, like I did this once where I wrote down like 100 things. I mean, and sometimes it's hard to come up with 100 things.
Yes.
But then, I don't know, maybe 5 years later, I looked at it, and a lot of those things had happened, and I hadn't even, I just wrote them down. I put it in a closet. I didn't think about them again, and
but
they
just
still
writing
happened
them down
because it's in your mind. You know that you want it somewhere. So, really.
Hi, Amy.
Yeah. Hi. So
did I say?
yeah. Well.
Hi again if I did.
we're just so excited because, okay, so here's what happened. Cindy, hi, thank you for
Cindy.
joining. So this really strange thing happened this afternoon when we thought we were on. Yesterday, you know, it was so great because we had people coming in from all across the country, really. We had the East Coast, West Coast, and all over in between. And so today we went on and we're like, no one's here. We threw a party and no one's coming.
It's like your worst nightmare.
And then, so we're like, that's okay. We'll trudge on. We can do this. We can do this. And then, you know, later we realized that we really weren't on and that nobody could get through. And, yeah, so I don't know why I told. But, so anyway, we'd like to acknowledge you 3 or 4 times because
we're just so happy that
we're
you're
just so
joining
happy
us.
that you're joining us and that you're here. And we really want to help you get your new year off to a good start. So, on with that. Back to the goal piece, or as I said, you don't have to call them goals. You can call them intentions.
I love
You can
intentions. That's a
yeah,
good word
yeah.
for me. I like intentions.
I-
Goals almost feel like you can fail at them, but intentions, you're setting your intention. It doesn't seem like such a big pressure thing,
Oh, sorry.
but you're
Here's
definitely
Becca.
hi.
Yeah,
And
she's
you really
talking. I'm
don't have
looking
to,
at her, and then yeah.
I like the word intentions. It
Yeah.
just it seems feels to me like there's less pressure on it to become something that I have to prove that I've made. It's
Right.
intention is more personal. It's more what's coming from the inside. This is my intention. It's more close to the vest and something that I don't have to prove to anybody else. It's just for me.
Right. So, what about you guys? What do you like to call them? Maybe you like resolutions and want to stick with that. And so, if there's something that you do that does work for you and you like, please type it in and share, because we're not saying that we have the market on knowing everything there is to know about naming it and claiming it in the new year. So, if there's something else you like to call it besides goals, or that would work too. Whatever it is, I just need it to be meaningful to you. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else, because usually it's those things that people don't understand. I mean, they just don't get it. It's just too outside of the box. I mean, I have always been what I call a fringe dweller. That means I just live on the edge and people don't know what I'm doing out there. And it can be lonely sometimes, but there are many other fringe dwellers too. I mean, I'd like to think that you are all fringe dwellers as well, because you've shown up here tonight. So write it down and just somehow I don't think we have talked about it yet tonight. We talked about it sometime today,
But probably, yeah.
yeah, about that sometimes we're afraid to say what our goal is. Did we talk about that yet tonight?
No, I don't
If
think
we
so.
did, I'm sorry that we're repeating ourselves, but Becca had said about, yeah, I think we did, because you said that you're afraid to say it out loud, because then what if it changes and then people think, oh, I'm such a flake
yeah.
that I
Yeah.
can't stick to my goal. But, the fact is that sometimes you don't know what you're getting into until you get into it. And then sometimes it's really, truly awesome. And then other times it's not at all what you thought. You thought
Well,
this was
along the way to getting to that goal, if you name something and you go for it, sometimes along the way to that, you'll fall into something that just lights you up and you love.
Yeah.
And then you have to you have to listen to your gut and to your feelings and say, okay, that's actually what I want. That's where I want to be. This is what makes me happy. I was wrong, and it's okay to be wrong about what your initial thought was on your goal, because you know what, if you hadn't picked that, you would have never found what you fell into.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you just have to pick a direction, go for it, and then listen to your feelings as you're going along. Listen to your gut, and it'll tell you if you're on the right track, or if you
Right.
need to take a detour, or
yeah, because sometimes I feel like we're never given the whole piece. It's like you're given this little bit of information. So if you just keep acting on the next right thing for you, you don't have to know the whole piece. You can kind of know that you're heading towards a promised land, but you don't have to know how you're going to get there. Leave
Absolutely.
the how
In
up
fact,
to
yeah.
Because if you knew how, like for me, I might mess it up. So it's really best sometimes for me just to do the next right thing, because you're so right. Sometimes we think we need that total new job, and like you were saying before, sometimes it might just be a different job within the organization, or doing it differently, or getting to use different skills, or inventing or creating something of your own, and then bringing that up. I mean, it's like a lot of the things that we want to do are things that haven't been done before. So we can't look at, well, at least if you're a fringe dweller, they have not been done before. So so you have to look at how can you do that? And actually, we're all like adventure seekers. We're looking for that new thrill, that new high, that thing that we haven't done yet. And you know, that's what we were doing this Facebook Live. We were thrill seekers. We said, oh my gosh, what could be more thrilling? So actually, we're just really passionate about sharing this information. We're really excited to get this information out there. And I don't know, we probably didn't talk about giving the year a name, but I've found, you know, as I've gotten a little bit older, especially, you know, I do this midlife MacGyver thing. When I hit midlife, it was just like I became invisible, and I'm like, wait a minute, I have so many things that I want to share and say, but I was terrified. You know, it's very hard to be visible, and because visible sort of equals vulnerable, and but it's like when somebody said to me, what would be not working,
Oh, we have more. Hi, Chelsea.
Hey, Chelsea.
Hi, Mary Beth.
Hey, Mary Beth. So, you know, if somebody would come up and say, what would be the worst tragedy for you? What could you not accept if something would happen to you? Like, I would hate it if I died and my stories were still inside of me, because, well, maybe people would be glad those stories died, but you know, I feel like we all have these stories to tell, or we have this impact, this purpose, this passion, this thing that we want to do. And it's okay if you don't exactly know what that is right now, because I think there's a lot of emphasis on knowing your passion and living your passion, and it's like, I don't have a passion, what's wrong with me?
Right.
But you know, what is the thing that will move you out of that fear of becoming vulnerable, becoming visible? And for me, it's like, you know, I feel like sometimes I'm just taking dictation. It's like I just wake up and I have to do a divine download and write these things down. And so who am I not to put them out there? You know, who am I not to say I'm not good enough for this? You know, that's just not true. And you know, we get hung up. Like today, we were trying to figure out the lights in the background and all of this stuff. And you know, video makeup that we do not know how to do. Clearly, if some of you do, please help us. But the whole point is, it doesn't matter that we just showed up. That's the thing that mattered, and that you showed up, and that really means a lot to me. That you showed up, you know, 7 hours or 5 hours later than our. Oh my gosh! But anyway, so I don't know. I've gotten kind of off track of all that, but I'm going to tie it back into this with the support. The next thing about looking at your goals is who's on your support team. So I just feel like it's very hard to do anything alone. I mean, there for a while, you know, in those many years when I was wandering the desert of the Southwest looking for the meaning of my life, I was alone and I was isolated, and you know, I thought, oh, that's what we fringe dwellers have to do. We have to hang out on the edge by ourselves, and it's absolutely not true, especially now in the days that we're so very connected, and that we can just, I mean, it's like I'm having a party and you've come over, and I really appreciate it, and we can have these kind of meaningful exchanges here with people across the world that we weren't able to do. Hi, Paula. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Paula.
So it's just, if you, whatever it is that you're excited about or passionate about or you want to learn about, there are other people who know about it, and there are other people who can help you. So please do not do this by yourself. And Becca and I, we think we found our calling. Yesterday, you know, we had our first success, and we said, hey, maybe we should do this on a regular basis, and we can check in with people, and we can share what we're learning, because, you know, it's one thing to learn it for yourself, but isn't it way more exciting when you know something than to turn around it and share it with somebody else?
If there's even one person you can help, and with the information that you know, and sometimes it's just saying it
Debbie.
differently. Maybe it's something you guys already know, but we say it a little bit different in a way that finally rings true, and you're like, oh, that's what I needed to hear. Then you know, that makes me feel fabulous. Like, that just makes my day. I feel completely fulfilled. I think that's my passion, is that I just love being able to help people live happy, healthy, fulfilled lives.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not that I'm perfect at it myself. I'm still on the quest, but I
Right.
think I'm in the right direction with what I'm, you know,
Yeah.
doing with my integrative health and
Absolutely. Yeah, and Stacy, who joined us earlier, I think she's doing some health-related things too. I think physical therapist Stacy, is that right? And I mean, she's awesome. I met
Awesome.
her when she was in high school, and I just keep watching. She's doing these fantastic things throughout her life, and helping people. And we had talked about yesterday how, we can say there's no original thought and why should we do our thing. And then we said, because we're the only one who has our unique set of experiences and can put it out in the way that we can. And so people may be able to hear it in the way that you can say it, that they couldn't hear it from somebody else. So please don't think that your goals or your desires or your wishes are not enough, are not worthy. If they're yours, if you've got them, they're great.
you're meant to follow them.
something.
Then. You're meant
So,
to do something with them. If your gut is saying that this is what I love and this is what I'm passionate about, or this is
Right.
what makes me feel good, then go for it. Just
Yeah.
follow it and see where it leads you. It might
Yeah.
lead you to something completely different than you thought,
Right.
but follow it and see where it leads you.
Yeah, because I always think we get these feelings about, I say follow your fascination. I love that phrase because
it's a good phrase.
whatever you're excited about, follow it, see where it takes you. And maybe it takes you nowhere, but maybe it might take you someplace really fascinating and then help you to just keep open. Because I think we are just like, endless, there's so many doors that we can open and walk through, and there's possibilities. I mean, there's just so many different things to explore. So I just really hope that you'll be like an adventurer this year, and you're not going to be saying, well, I'm just going to get through this year, and then maybe next year I can do something. No. Please be present for this year. I mean, you're here on the call, so you've shown up, and that shows me how committed you are. And yay, Jeff's here. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for joining. So yeah, I just really think that right now, the world needs everybody's light.
Hi, Lauren.
Hey, Lauren Larrabee. Hi, girlfriend. So if you can think about that, again, sometimes the things that are out of our control, try to take it down to a personal level. What can you do? How can you make a difference in your thoughts? And we were talking about, Rebecca was saying, when you get freaked out by the things you hear on the news and all of this stuff, take it back and then also think, well, am I freaked out because of what I'm thinking, because we can add to that fear and get ourselves all worked up, but the only thing we can really control is our reaction to things. So anyway, yeah, I'm just going to move this a teeny bit. So anyway, on with that. I'm just going to do a quick break for anyone who has joined lately. I just want to tell you who we are and why we're here. See, I did this little tutorial on how to do Facebook Live, and so it said to stop many times and say who you are. So I am Penny Plouts, and this is Becca Formenti. She is my neighbor, and we do walks every day with our dogs, and we figure out the meaning of life. So we thought that we would just share that with you, and we also wanted to do the Name It and Claim It in the new year. So you can think about, it's part of what we call our Resolve to Evolve series, which is instead of resolving to any one thing that you can give up really easily, the resolve to evolve means that you're just constantly learning, even if it's baby steps, which I'm not sure if we said baby steps this time or if we said it at
I think I said baby steps at 2. It's all about baby steps. 10 degrees of change each day. If you change your direction just 10 degrees, a resolution makes you feel like you have to.
We said
that at take 2.
On take 2. Yeah. Oh, we forgot to tell you, this is our third take because our second take did not work either today.
Yeah, I think that resolution makes you think that you got to change all of a sudden. Like starting tomorrow, I'm no longer going to do this, or I'm always going to do this, and then the minute you don't do it, or you do it and you're not supposed to, you failed and you give up and you're done. Whereas I think it's all about a little bit of change in direction every day. Like you want to be at, due north and you're kind of going southeast right now. Well, 10 degrees of change each day that brings you closer to going due north. Think about it. 6 months from now, you're gonna be going due north.
Yeah.
You gotta realize that baby steps. Every day, just do something that gets you a little closer to the right direction that you want to go in.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I maybe mentioned this before of how our brains are wired to win. So if you can work in some wins every day, that will really help you. So what do I mean by wins? I like little things that just make you happy. If you like to look at the birds out your window and you just take a few minutes and you watch them, or you do something like that. It doesn't have to be anything that costs money or anything that it can just be something really simple. And I think I know I haven't said this one tonight. I did say it sometime today, but but of course no one heard it because okay, so this is the deal. If you have little rituals that you can do during the day, like I used to do this thing that every time I'd see on the clock, like if you have a digital clock and it says like 111 or 222 or 333 or 444 or 555, not 666, no. But if you see those, then I would stop and I would ask myself the question. I'd say, okay, at 111, I'd say, oh, I'm noticing this. What's important now? And so I'd take the full minute until it'd be 112, and I just recite these things to myself. It'd be a moment of mindfulness. So I could just say but you could use this like with your goals and say, how do I want to feel? What am I committed to doing to feel that way? What does that mean? And just take, just a minute. I mean, really, because if you do that, 4 or 5 times a day, you're going to be reminded of what's important to you, and you're going to start to live that, and then people are going to support you in doing that. And so, so I think we skipped over the one about support. I think I started on that, and then I got really off track, but I course corrected. Now I'm back on track. So, with a support team, when you're trying to do these things, maybe you don't want to tell everybody about it, but you want to tell somebody. You can get a coach. I can be your coach. Anybody, find somebody to be your coach, and somebody who's going to hold you accountable. Like Becca holds me accountable. I mean, every day we go for a walk. It's like, what's going on there?
Did you do what you said you were going to do?
Yeah, like today. When Ruby got up on the chair and she was not. She said, you're giving her positive enforcement for it. Yeah, and it was good because I needed it, because I'm like, you're right. This little red dog has quite a hold on me. So anyway, it's so helpful because that was a really good teaching moment for me, and we do it for each other. So because we do these things sort of without thinking, and but it's really obvious to other people, and if you trust them, I mean, you don't want it to be somebody who's going to criticize you and judge you. You do not want to have somebody like that be your coach or your mentor. You want somebody who's going to get you and support you and understand your why. Earlier I've been doing this thing called How to Get Your Groove Back, and what I say from the get-go was, who's on your team? Because those people who say, oh, I love you just the way you are. Well, those people might love you just the way you are, and you're not so sure they're going to love you the way you want to be. So when you're making a change, sometimes it doesn't it never involves just you. It impacts all the people around you, because if you're going to start eating differently, for example, the friends who you go out and have beer and pizza with are not really going to be on board with the veggies and whatever you're doing. So you have to understand that it's harder to make these resolutions and do these goals than what you might originally think. Okay, so don't beat yourself up if you're saying it's it's hard, because it is very hard, and you have to support yourself with the right people who are going to help you move forward. I say it takes a village and supplies. So
it does. It
Amazon
does.
is helpful.
But the key there is just be careful who you share your dreams with. Too much negative talk, you can have like the best feeling and be all excited and then go tell someone that you kind of had a feeling would be negative about it, and they can shoot it down, and you may never pick it back up again. So when you're especially first starting out toward your goal or your dream or your intention, just be careful who you share it with. Just pick somebody that's going to
who's going to
be
support
supportive
you.
of it.
You want to have a support team because, think about what you need to succeed, because really it is very hard to do anything that's hard on your own. And the other piece is there's so many people who have been on the journey before. So, it was amazing to me when I started eating differently how many books there were on the subject. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, this has been going on forever. And when you start meditating or doing anything,
Right.
there's like, it's really interesting to me, like with yoga, people are, and I love yoga, it's fine, but it's like it's become this really hip thing, but it's been around forever. I mean, people have known about the benefits forever, and so it's like, but it doesn't matter. Whenever you discover it and however it helps you, great. Because what you just need to know is that there are people who have been there and done that and are willing to share the benefit of their experience and knowledge with you, and then you in turn can turn around and share it with other people. So that's the great thing, and we're just so connected now that we can easily do that. I mean, I did not know how to do Facebook Live, I will admit.
I didn't either.
And
when
I
you
just
asked
watched
me to help you,
yeah.
I was like, I will do my best to help
And
you, but I have no idea.
yeah. So here's a great story, because so I really didn't want to do it. And so I text Becca on Friday night, and she said, no, we're doing this, and I'm going to help you. And that's what I mean by getting support, because if it weren't for Becca, we wouldn't be here doing this, because it's scary, and I know you're thinking, what can be scary about putting your face in front? But it is. So, but anyway, that just works with any goal, too. I mean, there are people who, I mean, remember the first time you did anything that was really hard, and, it's terrifying. So you bring your touchstone, your beginning in rock, or something like that. You bring your best friend. You bring somebody with you. Barbie, who's on the call, went last year in March. I did a conference called Beyond Rubies, and it was a pretty big venue, and she was there, and she went with me and watched the whole thing and helped and did her spiel and told her story. And so again, it's just like I depend on so many people. The other day when I was on Paula Sands, Pam and Kendall and Nicole were with me, and it's just helpful to have the support of, because it's like maybe it looks easy, but nobody knows the terror of it all,
Right.
until you've been there, and then so I don't know. I don't know if any of you can think of some things where any examples, but I'd love it if you want to share some things, because I don't want to just keep going on like crazy. But I think were you wanting to say something? I felt like you wanted to say something. I think Becca wants to say something.
I don't.
I could feel your energy coming up, and like she's going to say something great, and then I just so sorry about that. So if you all have something really that you want to share,
great job. Thank you.
Hi Linda! Yay, Linda's here. So yeah, so let's hear it. Let's hear it. Who has a goal or intention or idea that you want to share with the group? I'd love to hear what you want to do this year in 2017. I just think that we we get to create it, regardless of what's going on around us. We get to create what's going on inside of us. So it can be our best year, it can be our worst year.
What is it? 525,600 minutes in 2017. You have 525,600 minutes. Same amount as, the biggest millionaires in the world, as, we have the same amount of minutes to create whatever we want 2017 to be as anybody else. So, and you are going to create. Whether you do it intentionally or not, you're going to create. So why not do it intentionally? Why not pick a goal or an intention and just go for it, and instead of letting life happen, just pick something and let it
there
go.
We go. Sorry.
We have the same amount of resources in terms of time as anybody else to make it what we want it to be. So do it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think we say that other people do things because they have like more time or more money or all of this, and it doesn't matter really what other people are doing. What matters is what we're able to do, and if we can do what we want to do. So I'd really like to know if you have any questions or any way that I might be able to support you in doing this, but it would be really helpful, like everybody all at once could write down your biggest wish for 2017. That would be really cool. I'd just really love to hear what's going on for you, what you want. And it could be like one word. Maybe that would make it easier and less frightening if everybody just typed in the one word that maybe sums up the year. I like to name the year, and sometimes it's very easy for me to name the year because like something will happen. Like one year, I maybe mentioned this yesterday, I had what I call Happy Shoe Year because I received 2 pairs of shoes in the mail, and they were very nice shoes. But it was also the idea of me traveling and being at large in the world, and so that was the concept of that year. There can be, like this year, I said for 2016, the name that I gave that was the stretch year, because really I kind of stretched myself beyond what I thought I was able to do, and especially at the end of the year. Many of you know and have been reading the blog. I did From Here to the New Year and Good Cheer challenge, because I am a Scrooge. I am a Grinch. I do not really care much for the holidays, but I said this year I'm going to do it differently. I have a choice and I can do it differently, and I'm going to stretch myself and see if by giving tips to other people about how to get through the holidays, if that would help me. And so we've had a media blitz in the last
And so did it help
days.
you?
It did, because I think it was just because I made a commitment to myself and I kept it.
It makes you feel good.
Yeah, and so people say, why do you stress yourself out? Because, I'm not getting paid to do any of this, but I'm really committed. It's like, as I said before, I don't want to die with my stories inside of me, and I feel like I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of really great teachers. In 2010, I worked with the poet David White. I went to England, and for 6 days I walked around the country with him, and it was just amazing.
That's an amazing.
And last year I got to work with Martha Beck, who's and it was just fantastic. I mean, I have really, because at one point I think I committed to saying, like, these authors, I'm a writer, so I love authors, and I thought, I just want to, I'm going to go to the source. If these people have inspired me, if they do a workshop, I'm going to go be with them. And, you can do that. I understand. I could do that when I don't have a family or kids. But, again, it's what your priorities are and what you commit to doing. And then, but
move out of your comfort zone. I guess
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. And if you don't know, I think that was the biggest thing earlier this year. I heard all these things about following your passion and go toward your passion, do something with, that only you have this passion for. And all I could think is, oh my God, I have no passion. Like, I can't come up with what my passion is. And it really stressed me out that, like, oh my God, I have no passion. I don't know what my passion is. Where do I go? I don't know what to do. Like, I know I'm not happy or content, but I don't know what the heck my passion is. So, I think the biggest, advice I got from that is pay attention to your longing and your discontent. What are you longing for?
Yeah.
What are you discontent with in your life? And go from there. Figure out from there, kind of, you can mold a temporary at best goal or intention and see where that leads you, and then go from there. But I think that was the best advice I got for trying to figure out what my goal might be or what my passion might be, was pay attention to what you're not happy with and pay attention to what you're longing for. What are you really longing for in life? Like, what do you wake up in the morning and wish you had in your day that you don't?
Yeah.
And that can help you come up with what your goal is or what your intention should be.
Yeah. Yesterday I mentioned this book by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic, and it's just a fantastic book. It's so great. And she says, because she's also done a TED Talk, and if you can see any of her TED Talks, they're fantastic as well. But she says, follow your, kind of like follow your fascination, but she says just stay curious. If you're curious about something, check it out,
Right.
because that's the big thing. Because I think we do get too tied up on, oh, everybody has their passion. I don't have one. Well,
Right.
Where do you get a passion? How do you do it?
Exactly. I started
And, yeah.
depressing myself because I didn't have a passion. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Oh my
And-
God, maybe I have no ability to have passion. Like, what do I?
Yeah, and and that can get you off track too. I mean, you want what you want, but just be clear about why you want it. If you're doing anything to get the approval of other people or get something that you're never going to be in control of, then that's going to lead you down the wrong road. I mean, you get to validate yourself. You get to say why you want what you want, and then you get to decide how you're going to go about getting it. And just be open to the fact that you think you might know how that's going to look. We talked about this. We talked about it in our private coaching session.
When we thought we were
when we thought we
helping
were
other
live
people.
and we thought that we were, really on. But so we talked about how oftentimes you need to update your dream. And this is a biggie, especially if you've had a dream for a while. Like, this thing happened for me a couple of years ago when as a writer, I always said, oh God, I would just love it if I could go live at the beach and spend the summers and I could work on my book and, just go to the market and get fresh food and all this and come back. So funny thing happens. It's a long story, but I was in a card store. I saw a card I liked. I wrote to the president of the company. I said, I love this card. Are you going to bring some more out? And by the way, I'm a writer. So she wrote me back and she said, well, my CEO and I have been reading your blog and we'd love for you to write for us. And I'm like, whoa, they want me for it. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then we talked about it. And then I wasn't really all that great at writing those cards. But they said, how about you come to Miami Beach and write with us for a week? And I'm like, yes, I will. Thank you so much. And so it was fantastic. I mean, they were wonderful people. And I went down there, and I was down there for a day, and they said, how would you like to move here and be our creative director? And I'm like, oh my gosh, my dream is coming true. And so it was really exciting for me because I'm like, oh, I'm finally validated as a writer. It's real. And then what I realized is that on the way to having that dream that I had had ever since I'd been, able to write, to somebody, to be discovered, as a writer by somebody other than, it's silly. So what happened is that I realized while I was on the way to that dream, I had quietly been building this other dream where I had a consistent job, I bought a house, I had a dog, and a fiance. Wow, who would have guessed? And so, so it was weird because suddenly this other dream was more real and more important than this thing that I had told myself, oh yes, I'm this writer. And it was really gut-wrenching for me to make the decision because part of me, it's like, yes, I want to be true to this younger fantasy or version of my life. And had I made that choice, it would have been equally fabulous. It would have been wonderful. I would have made it work, but I would have given up a lot of things that also meant a lot to me. So what I'm saying is update your dream. It might not be the same dream that you think and that you keep thinking, oh, if I can just get there, if I can just reach this goal, my life will be absolutely perfect. Well, newsflash, it's never going to be perfect. It's always going to be just a wee bit messy. And
when you reach one goal, you're going to want to reach for another one anyway. Like, you're never going to be done. You're always, life is a spiral, an upward spiral, and you're going to continue to grow upward. So the idea is just reach for your goal and see where it takes you. But don't be stuck. Don't be stuck thinking you can only have that as your destination.
Right.
Because it might not be the right destination. It's just what brings you to where you need to be.
Right. And then one other piece that I want to say about this is, first you update your dream. The other piece is connect the dots. If you've lived long enough, and I've lived a while now, who would have guessed that either? So you start to have all these experiences that you can put together in ways that you might not have imagined. A really weird thing happened to me this year. I mean, 4 people from 30 years ago came out of wherever they were, and there they were. And it was really exciting to me because they remembered me. And it happened all across the country. So one time I was in Austin, and somebody came up and said, "Penny?" And I'm like, "Yes," because I wasn't sure, but I did live in Texas, so I thought, okay, it's somebody could know me here. And so it was somebody that I went to college with, and we were going to the same workshop. We were going to the same, it was really wild. And then a few weeks ago, I lived in Canada for a year as an exchange student, and I had heard from this person who actually had emailed me in 2012. And sometimes I don't get back to my email right away, usually not 4 years, but I wasn't really up to date. But anyway, so I wrote her back, and she's like, we lived in the basement of this French family's house, and so that was really cool. So here's this person from Canada, and then last week, this guy that I used to know walked into the school, and then I went to the grocery store, and then somebody else walked in, and I'm like, so I had to call Bob, my fiance, and I said, "Who am I? What year is it? And where are we going?" Because I said, this time travel stuff is really freaking me out. I just, but it was like connecting all these dots. And then I think the thing for me was that it made me realize that things happen, we forget. And then we forget to, it's not that we forget people, but we forget about things. And talking with those people, I remembered the girl that I was when
Yes.
I was when I
Yes.
knew them. And that at that time, I maybe didn't know who I was or what I was doing with my life, but the reality is I absolutely did. There were clues all along, and all I needed to do was keep connecting the dots. Now, I had no idea, really, to be honest, that I would be living in Makokata, Iowa, working in a school. But it's so perfect because actually, yeah, it just is. But it's weird how you end up, like you had said, the spiral. It's like you go around and you keep learning things, and it gets more curious. And then the longer I live, the more sense it starts to make that I would have done these really random things on the fringe, but it all comes together somehow, and maybe it's because I have a desperate desire for it all to make sense and have meaning. But I don't know if I know that you're not going to tell me a story like that in the chat, but I'd love to hear from some of you if you're still here, and if you wouldn't mind, if somebody wants to, how about one of you share your basic goal? How about somebody share a stretch goal, or all of you can share your wildest dream goal with me if you want. And if you don't know what those are, I'll say it one more time. Your basic goal is just the minimum thing that you want to have happen this year, that you're willing, I just, want to get through the year healthy, happy, whatever. Your stretch goal are the things that you would really take you out of your comfort zone, but you know that you can do. And then your wildest dreams are really wild, but they absolutely can happen. So if anybody would be willing to type that, or maybe we've accidentally lost our connection and we're off again. We're good? Okay. Yeah. The Great Gavinsky, our producer, the Great Gavinsky, says we are still alive. We learned that from this afternoon, is that we need a reality check sitting in the room with us. So anybody have anything you want to share about 2017? What you're excited about, what you want to create, how we can support you in doing that. We're also wondering if you want to have some regular gatherings with us. We have a lot of topics that we would like to talk about. I am a certified eating psychology coach, and Becca is now doing integrative nutrition, holistic health coaching. So we have some ideas about that we could share with you.
I'm just stumped on my year ahead. I think a lot of us are there, and even I am to some extent. And I'll tell you, it goes back to me focusing on my longing and discontent, and that's kind of what's going to guide me into what my intentions will be for the next year. Not that I know exactly what needs to happen or how it needs to happen, but I know that I have a really busy, stressful life, but at the same time, not at all what I want. I work from home. If you guys were on yesterday, I work from home on my computer most days. I only go into an office 1 day a week, and the 1 day a week that I go into an office, I have to drive to Chicago, which is 4 hours away. Work 9.5 hours in the office, and then drive home. So I leave home at 3:30 in the morning, and I get home somewhere around 8:30 at night. And I don't enjoy my trip into Chicago because I pray to get out of the traffic so I can sit and stare at a computer just like I do at home, so that I can get in the car and head back out. I know that that's my discontent. I know that I don't like working from home by myself every day, that I start to feel very isolated. And on the days that I'm not feeling very isolated, it's nice to go and see people in the office, but that's a really long, stressful day. I know that's not sustainable. I can't do that. That's discontent, and I have a longing to use my gifts. I feel like I have gifts. I have talents that aren't getting used. I'm good at my job. Obviously, I'm successful enough at my job. It's not that I'm bad at it, but I don't love it. I don't have a passion for it. So what needs to happen? I know that needs to change. I don't know how it needs to change, but my goal or my intention for 2017, I guess, is for that to change. And I'm not sure how. I'm going to follow my longing and my discontent and pay attention to my intuition and to my feelings about what brings me joy and what lights me up. I think it will have a lot to do with the integrative Institute of Nutrition classes I'm taking, and what I'll end up doing with that. But I don't know exactly how it's all going to play out, whether it will be something I do, with the work I'm, at the job I'm at, if there's some way to integrate some of that in and make it more fulfilling for me, or if I'm going to need to leave my job. I don't really know. Yeah. But I do know that my goal right now is just that needs to change, that I need to find a more fulfilling, sustainable life that I wake up in the morning and look forward to, instead of waking up in the morning and going, oh God, I need a cup of coffee so I can go stare at my computer for another 9.5 hours. So I guess if that gives you guys any help in trying to decipher what you might want for a goal or an intention for 2017, that's kind of how I'm going about it.
Yeah, I think, the main thing, I mean, if you know, that's fantastic, but if you don't, that's okay too, because these are big things, and they deserve some consideration. They deserve some thought. They deserve your time and attention. So I just wanted to make this template available to you and ask you these questions so that you have something to think about, something to, not that you probably have a lot to think about anyway, but when you have some time to yourself, when you want to be intentional, this might just give you a framework to start looking at things a little bit differently. I guess that's my thing. There are lots of books. There are lots of people saying what we've been saying tonight, so it's not original, but we do have a little bit different spin on it, and if we can say something that sparks something in you to do something that makes you feel better. I mean, as we said, it's not only what do you want to do, be, or have, but why do you want to do it, and how do you want to feel? I mean, and if there's some way, if there's like a hack that you can get to feeling good right now, then hack away. I mean, find a way to do something that you can feel good right now, because I'm not saying like instant gratification of everything, because some things only come with time and discipline and work, but please don't postpone your happiness. If as we said yesterday, if you're happy and you know it, toot your horn. Yeah. So, yeah, just like if you need to right now, if you've been watching this and you think, gosh, I really need to break into song and dance, then please go break into song and dance in the next room. I mean, when we get done, the great Gavinsky right now is doing a few dance moves, and it's inspiring us to want to get up and dance. That's right. So, it can be silly. It can be whatever. But I just, yeah, a disco party. We could turn on the flashing lights
Strobe
and all,
lights,
yeah, and all of that. But yeah, find a way to find your joy, and whether it's at 111, 222, 333, or whatever. Another thing we had talked about earlier today, we just want to give you a few tips of things you can try. I had seen this somewhere, and Becca had said she had even bought up a jar to do this now. You wouldn't probably want to keep your Santa jar out all year long, but I just use this as a prop and as an example. So if you have a jar, any kind of jar, and then if you have some Post-it notes or just
Cut up some little pieces of paper.
not this small because you can't really write a note on something this small, but you just write like for the day, just one thing that lit you up, that tripped your trigger, that made you happy, that you're grateful for, whatever. Just put one in every day, because then next year at this time you'll have this humongous jar of goodies, and there will be no calories. It'll just be all goodies, and you can consume those. But even if you get halfway through the year, or even a week into your year, and you need some backup, you can look in your goodie jar and pull out those things that were good for you, that you feel grateful for, whatever. You're probably going to need a bigger jar than this.
It can kind of give you clues as to what lights you up too.
Yeah.
Not only does it put
absolutely.
you in the right mindset
Right,
as
right,
far
right,
as
right.
being grateful and being happy, but it can also, you can look back at it and say, oh, there seems to be a consistent
There's a pattern
theme
in
of,
here.
yeah.
It's like my life is really red and green, or so, you know, it's like these are the things that turn. Yeah, so that's a really good point.
It might be a good clue as to what
Yeah.
what your passion might be, or what you really enjoy.
Yeah, and another thing is, if you don't know, ask somebody around you. I mean, it's funny because we think, oh gosh, I don't know. Well, ask people around you know things about you that you think you don't know, that they
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
You think, oh, then nobody knows that about me. Nobody knows that I'm really shy.
Yeah.
But some people do know those things. And if you don't know, ask somebody. Ask them to give you some feedback. Just like yesterday, we said we didn't know what we were doing here. We could use a little feedback. So we got some feedback, and we thought we fixed it, and then we didn't show up at all. But we did, just not with you guys. So sorry about that. But what am I trying to say about that? Some other hacks.
One that I have Gavin do, and I think we
Oh,
mentioned
right,
it earlier,
right.
and we haven't
Yeah.
mentioned it this time.
We mentioned it to each other.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't.
I have Gavin lots of times when we walk in the morning. I'll say, "Give me 3 IMs and 3 I'm grateful fors," and then we started doing it. That became our bedtime ritual. Tell me 3 IMs and 3 I'm grateful fors, and that turned into. I got him a journal, and I said, "Okay, you can give me 3 IMs. I want to hear you say them out loud." And I don't know if anybody knows about I am, but it's stating. You state something positive about yourself. You go to bed at night reminding yourself of the good things. And maybe it's things that you don't think you really are yet, but you want to be.
So you would say,
I am strong. I am confident. I am unstoppable. I am, you come up 3 IMs every night. And then I got him a journal, and he had to write 3 I'm grateful fors every night. And just writing them down, I think it really locks it in, and he goes to bed thinking some very positive things about himself and about the world around him. And I think that's a really good way to end your day, and to kind of go to sleep thinking and feeling.
Yeah, and I think that's so great, and also too, in the morning when you wake up, if you don't have to be jarred awake with an alarm clock. Thank you, the Great Gavinsky. We're going to put him on before we go, so you can see how cute he is and how amazing the Great Gavinsky is and why he got his name. Is like that. In the morning, I usually will get out my journal and do a little bit of writing, and it's almost like a download again. Like I think I mentioned before, divine download. It's like, hit me, here we go. And because I haven't had the news from the day to inform me yet, it's just like I'm coming from the state of being somewhere else, and then what are the gifts I bring back from I mean, those of you who know me know I am a big dreamer in a lot of senses, but I dream a lot, and I remember my dreams. I sometimes have repeat dreams, and so I like some of my best ideas. One time I took a nap and I woke up and I said, "Oh, I need to make a tape called Stress for Success." And so it's kind of like making the video. You know, when you hear your voice on the, you know, you don't like the sound of your own voice. But anyway, I went to the studio. The guy said, "Yeah, you might want to consider voice lessons." I'm like, "Yes, thank you." And just like, you know, I might want to consider a video, you know, makeover. Anyway, so the point is I made the tape, and I had a client at the time, Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad, and it was before Christmas time, and I had to spend $500 I didn't have at that time to go to the studio and record this tape of affirmations that I had made, and then I gave it to the guy at Burlington Northern, and then right before Christmas he called and he's like, "We want 2,500 of those tapes." So it was really fantastic, because then my parents came out to visit. I was living in Santa Fe, living off air, not really knowing what I was doing at the time, and so right before they arrived, I got this check in the mail for like $17,000, which was,
awesome.
you know,
Yeah.
it was just the coolest thing,
awesome.
because it's like, I'm living on the fringe, I'm a fringe dweller, and I'm on the edge, but look, I have this check for this product that I created myself. So anyway, it was cool. And then my friend and business partner Tom at the time, then we made a couple of other tapes for Burlington Northern, and you know, we went into the studio, we had actors come in and do the whole thing, so it was really super fun. But and that was just a thing that I woke up and I thought, I need to do this.
Well, you know,
And
that's what Thomas Edison used to do. Have you heard that? When he
Well-
was trying to create the incandescent bulb, he would get as far as he could get, and then he would go to the land of the answers, is what he called it, I believe.
Oh, the land of the answers.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He would take a cat nap, and they, you know, people used to make fun of him for it. But that was what he did
Wow.
to help come up with ideas on how to get further in his creation of the incandescent bulb.
And
Yeah.
then, you know, 10,000 ways not to make the bulb.
Right.
That
Well,
that
he
story
said there
on-
he had no failures. It was all
just
feedback.
Feedback.
It was
Yep.
just feedback.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Kavinsky.
So there you go.
Yeah. So whatever it takes, you know, if it takes some, I like the
Sometimes-
saying, "Don't quit your daydreams." Yeah, there's
Right.
that saying, you
I
know.
like that. Yeah.
And you know, just. I feel like if you get a hit or a sense that you need to do something, that your job is not to just question it and say,
Right.
you know, act on it. Just do one little thing, take one little baby step, as we've talked about before, towards it. And you know, if you step towards it and it backs away, then maybe it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
But at least you know. I mean, I think, you know, I don't want to say, you know, I'm fearless or be fearless, because you know that's kind of hard to do. I'm
I'm
pretty
got all
afraid of
kinds
some
of fear.
things. Yeah, but I can be courageous. Yeah, yeah.
You can be
yeah,
brave and
yeah,
face your fear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a thing, you know. So, being, yeah, because I don't think life is going to get easier. I think it's going to continue to get really interesting for all of us. And the more you own your throne, did I mention that before about owning? Yeah, I think I did.
Yes.
You know, stepping in
Being
and
your
owning your
queen.
throne,
Being a
being
queen
the
and
queen.
not a
You are the
princess.
queen.
Yep.
We need you in your queendom. So, yeah. So, yeah, I always like to say, you know, queens do not say, "Hey, does Sierra make my butt look big?" No, we do not ask those questions. We just get on that throne and we
Right.
own it, and because we need to. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's so true. I mean, we need to step into our power. You kings out there too. So it's not just, you know, it's like some of us, we just need to grow up and own our power and do what we need to do. So however that looks this year, I really want to support you in doing that. So again, if you're interested, I think there's something, I can't see it on what we're doing, but there might be a button that you can press to follow. I don't know. Do you see is there a follow button? If you have that and you want to follow us, then whenever we do a video, then you'll be informed of when we're going to do something. You can also, since you are like, what are we going to say, the beta testers or the early adapters or
The early adapters. We use that one at work a lot. Yeah.
So you guys are the cutting edge group doing this Facebook Live with us. You can have a say in what you want to see next, and we will put something together because that pulls us forward. That brings that helps us distill the information that we have and we know and put it in together in a way that hopefully will make sense and inspire and motivate you.
Mean something to you, yeah.
Yeah,
so that
because that's our goal. Our goal is to just you're our friends. I mean, that's why you're here, and who better to give back to than our friends? So I am so excited that you joined me and Becca tonight, especially. Since we had no idea when we were going to show up, or whenever you find us. I mean, that's the thing. It's also the terrifying thing. This could live on forever. Oh my gosh. Oh, I just got to think about that a minute. And well, I guess I can hit delete. So I'm limited time only. You can watch the video. But whenever you find it, and hopefully there'll be something in there that we can help you with. And you can always email me at penny@wellpower.com, WELLPOWER.com. And some of you even have my number. Some of you work with me. Some of you live with me. Or live next door. So whatever I can do to help you, please let me know. I'd sure love to hear some goals or some...
You can write it on the screen.
Here he comes. We're just going to introduce you for a moment. The great Gavinsky. There he is. He's going to show us. Look, we can do... Oh, we should have done it in black and white. Oh my gosh.
we decided we looked much better in black and white
Black
earlier.
and white. It's way better because, we don't have all this... Oh, yeah, there's... Oh, yeah. Gavin's trying to do wellpower.com. That's E. Well, anyway, okay. Maybe not. Now it's still there. Oh, now we can't get... Oh. So we have to have our producer again. Let's hope we don't trash our own selves. But, there we go. Okay. See how cool that is? We just... Can you put us on black and white now? Okay, so what do you
better
think?
in black and white. See? Aren't we better in black and white?
Like we look better like when we were from the 50s or something. White TV. Yeah.
Hi, John.
What we did, we can also do green or purple, but no, please don't do that.
It was horrible.
It was horrible. But yeah, so yeah. Always black and white. We can do a lot of metaphors here.
We could.
Yeah.
But if you don't like the
what do you
color of
think
your
is-
life, you change it.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't like the color. Yeah.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Did we? This is when we get really weird. Like when we, okay, so at 2:00 we thought we were on. We weren't
Put
on.
masks on people.
And what?
You can put masks on people.
Oh.
So you wanted a mask?
Yeah.
So yeah, I said to Becca earlier, I said, here's what I need before we do this next video shoot. I need a wig. I need a mask. And I need a body double. So those things didn't happen, but I do have the black and white. So that
helps. I think we look much better in black and white. So there you go. You just change things up.
Yeah. If you don't like it, just switch to black and white or green. Or I would not recommend green. That makes you look...
We looked a little like the Grinch.
Yeah, and we looked a little sickly too with that. So, yeah, and it so happens that my outfit is black and white anyway, so it doesn't matter. You're not, but Becca has this beautiful blue color on that, matches her eyes, and it's really nice.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah, we like to, yeah. So, and Gavinsky is just handsome as he is, and Bob's upstairs watching the Packers because he chose not to join us tonight.
He thinks we're crazy.
And he's watching Ruby and Jake, who yesterday you met, sadly, way too many times. I mean, one time would have been fine, but they interrupted. So today they're doing something else with their...
So now we don't have them as an excuse for why we don't stay focused.
Right. We just lose focus really easily. So, okay, do we have any other things? I think that's
we
it.
can wrap it
I
up.
think it's gonna be a wrap. Oh, I wanted to tell you this, yeah. So when we thought we were on and we weren't, then we tried to punch out and we couldn't get out, and so we started just doing all these bloopers, and they were really
It was way better than the actual.
well, yeah, well, I mean, we were real serious, but in the bloopers, those are always the comic relief.
Right.
So we want to always provide you with a little
Comic relief.
Comic relief.
Everybody
So,
needs comic relief.
yeah, and our goal is one time to take you on a walk with us, because that's where we do all our really deep
thoughts.
deep thinking. And so we were gonna, if we can figure out, I mean, this is not going to be anytime soon because we're just live now, and we figured that out.
6 hours later.
Yeah, 6 hours later. But if we can figure out how to take you on a walk with us and the dogs, we'll record it and then we'll play it for you. So it'd be like you can join us. We were thinking about calling our little show The Walk of Life, and learning some things that we've learned as we've walked through life. So anyway, if you want, and if there is a follow button, and if you don't have the fun tools like the black and white button or other things, then just follow us, and we'll let you know when we're going to come back. Our goal is to do it at least once a month, but possibly more often. Our stretch goal would be...
What's our stretch goal?
Well,
You name it. I'll claim it.
okay, our basic goal is once a month, okay? Our stretch goal is twice a month. Our wildest dream goal would be,
Every day.
Once
yeah, I think yeah, that might be a bit much for people. Once a week, I mean, if we could do it, and we could do
I think that our wildest dream goal should be for you guys to get a hold of us once a week and tell us what you want, and we will get on and we will nail it to the best of our ability.
Yeah, because it's not.
You need to let us
we're
know
all
what
in
you
this.
want.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
all in this together.
Yeah.
Do you want to sing that song?
We need
we're
to-
all in this together. Do you know that song? High School Musical? No. Okay.
We need
Okay.
to know what you
Lauren
want to know
Larrabee
about.
knows that song. I know Lauren Larrabee knows that song. Yeah. So our goal. Okay. Here's our goal. Our basic goal is once a month. Our stretch goal is twice a month, or maybe 3 times. And our wildest dream goal is that you're letting us know every week what you want, and we're delivering it.
Yes. Yes.
Every
We're
week.
nailing it every
Yeah,
week. You
yeah.
tell us
You
what
tell
you want
us-
to hear about and
Yeah,
what.
yeah.
And
Because
that you guys can join in and give
Yeah,
us some
yeah.
of your insights too, because maybe we're triggering things that make you think of things that you really think work
Yeah.
for you or would work for us.
yes, or if you would like
So
to send
it doesn't
us,
need to be one way.
right, you could send us. Let's just call it fan mail instead of no haters, please. But I know it could happen. But what was I going to say about that? I got all
Send us.
Yeah, if you want us to read your comment, we'd be happy to do that, because I know that it's not like we've told you anything new, right? We've just said it in a way that might remind you of what you already know. So if you know how to say it in a better way than we did and would like us to mention that, please send me an email, and I'll be happy to mention it, and I'll give you credit for it. Give you credit where credit is due.
Yep.
So I think that's it. So we know what we're going to do. Do you know what you're going to do? I don't know. You could let me know. If you don't know, please email us and let us know.
Yeah.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it,
Yes.
is to write to us, tell us what you want to hear, and come back and see us a minimum of once a month. Probably 2 or 3 times a month, maybe. I mean,
Great.
maybe every week. Okay. All right, so, we're going to do a toast. Oh.
I drank my water.
Yes,
It's not really champagne. I blew it. It's supposed to be champagne, but
Happy New Year. I really, really wish the best for you. Thank you so much for joining us. Please know I'm so thrilled that you're here. You matter to me. It means a lot, especially since, we weren't here at 2 o'clock when you might have thought. But maybe you were busy too. So
Maybe it worked out better
We
this way.
decided it could have been better.
Maybe it was meant to be
tonight,
this way.
Because not everybody wants to watch football, right? Right. Okay. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Make it the best.
Oh wait. Oh yes, Gavin's watching. Our producer Gavin. Can you come over, Gavin? I don't know how to end. This is what happened before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What?
our
Where do you
studio.
want it?
Okay, so we need to just hit the.
Oh, the finish.
We don't want to trash it because then we could lose our whole video. I think. I don't know.
Ah.
How do we get out of there? Can we get? Sorry. We just talk amongst yourselves.
Again, it's like Hotel California.
Check out it. We cannot
check out, but we can't leave.
So, if you want to stick around for the after hours party.
What the
Okay.
heck? This
Okay.
X should be. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
There we
Okay,
go.
I
All right,
think we're
bye,
leaving now.
everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us.